Unless there are breakthroughs made in treatment of the brain, we're going to have a huge number of some of the most feted and loved athletes in this country who can't function very well mentally.
And Goodell's basic entire answer was, well, we're looking into it and we're obviously concerned about it, and our doctors don't think it's appropriate. Like your doctors, Elliot Pellman, Ira Casson, the people who didn't believe that concussions existed for 30 years. Nobody trusts your doctors. Nobody trusts the NFL doctors.
To suspend someone who's using marijuana, which has these beneficial properties, for the risks they incur through their job just makes no sense at all. It's, I think, not only misguided, it's cruel and unusual.
I'll tell you what my problem is. The league won't allow the use of marijuana in states where marijuana is legal, this one in Colorado, and it will shoot guys full of Toradol until their kidneys shut down. That's my problem.
What's a good drug and a bad drug?
A good drug is something that helps people. Cocaine doesn't help people. Methamphetamines don't help people. They ruin people's lives and communities and destroy families. And marijuana helps keep all those things together.
Do you think the league is just going to basically more so follow suit with the legal process once it becomes legalized?
It's hard to see the league being the trendsetter here.
I feel like who I was when I was younger, after I just smoked bowl. It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel positive about life, about the future, about myself personally. Because when I'm not, I'm almost the exact opposite. Depressed. But I think everything's wrong. I'm a day away from ALS or some crazy disease, or forgetting who I am.
I can't believe all those things I used to say.
This is an open letter to Roger S. Goodell, Commissioner of the National Football League. I am among the millions of people who enjoy football as a spectator sport. However, I am becoming increasingly uncomfortable with the growing specter that many of these athletes will pay the price of developing chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, to a greater or lesser extent as they grow older.
The highest rate of concussions is among offensive linemen. People think it's somehow quarterbacks. But
yeah, I spent the weekend with Kyle Turley.
Right.
And I've been following Kyle for about 5 years.
Just look, that's how the game starts. There's every other player may not be involved, but they sure are. And we don't diagnose the subconcussive hits. The only way you get diagnosed in football is if you're laying flat on your back, not moving, looking like you're dead.
When you're struggling with your memory, does it translate into your music as well?
And my music's stuck in my head. It's like football. You just know what to do because you've done it enough that it is natural. Robot.
My rookie year, I played guard, and I played left tackle, and I played right tackle. When the whistle's blown, that block's coming down here. He's going to swipe your guy. You want to take your first step here.
It's like, oh, we got blue 42, right, trips right, blah, 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 whatever, X over and this and that. To the average person, it's like, how can they do that if they got a concussion? It's like, because I've done it a million times. And so their brain doesn't have to even think. I mean, I don't remember games. I don't remember all the plays or anything. It's just kind of like a blur. My music sometimes is like that.
You need to be foot to foot, hip to hip. Boom, you need to pop that guy and stand him up for him, get that leverage.
There's a company in Bethesda, Maryland called BrainScope that has teamed with different doctors. They've done different experiments on animals. There's been lab proof, not to the FDA stage, but lab proof that marijuana helps CTE.
It's pretty clear that marijuana eases pain. So that's been the rationale for medical marijuana all across the country.
So it's a pain to get medical marijuana in this area?
Yes, it should have been in a year ago. That is, the legislation was there.
The rules of marijuana and weed are different in the real world than they are in the NFL because it does the drug testing and the personal conduct. If it's a rule, it wouldn't be violating the privilege of being an NFL player. You don't get suspended in the NFL for smoking weed one time. It is a pattern of behavior. It's a privilege to play in the NFL. Josh Gordon didn't just let him start. Whatever it is he was doing, if he was hurting anyone, he was really primarily hurting himself.
That's why in my appeal to Roger Goodell, I said, you've got to stop urine testing them. That they're not allowed to play so many games because they had a positive urine test is insane.
The NFL likes to flex its muscle when it... So if Ray Rice is the low with 2 games for doing what he did, and Josh Gordon is the high, pardon the pun.
What would the NFL do if they found out that the longevity of Peyton Manning was attributed that he, medicinally was using marijuana?
How would you make the argument for me that marijuana use, even regular marijuana use, is good for football players as far as it relates to recovering from injuries and dealing with not only TBI, but a list of maladies?
The injury itself, the impact, is sort of a trigger for a whole cascade of degenerative processes. There's a pretty significant body of science that shows that the cannabinoids, THC and other cannabinoids produced by the cannabis plant, available in the substance marijuana, that these cannabinoids have powerful neuroprotective effects.
It's particularly important that they understand today that you can use marijuana as a medicine without any psychoactive effects.
Remarkably, cannabinoids work at more than one level to go in and counteract, tone down the inflammation.
To get back to the National Football League, to test these people means they can't take this substance, which will not create a high, but will relieve to a greater or lesser extent their pain, and could conceivably minimize the effect of repetitive concussions.
I don't think we've ever really seen Roger Goodell's conviction on anything. So when he talks about concussions or marijuana or the drug policy or the domestic violence policy, is he going to reverse course or re-steer based on public opinion occasionally? Yes, when the owners tell him to.
We haven't even seen but the little tip of the iceberg here.
Do you still love football?
I love football.
I just want to be able to feel like this makes me feel.
It is a health-promoting substance. I'm not suggesting everybody should go around stoned for their health, but people, and I think...
Sure sounds like it, Lester.
Yeah, well, I because I take a high CBD, low THC. I took one last night. I'm not in the least bit stoned.